The entire globe is today the site of a momentous conflict. As each side attempts to prove to the world the superiority of its position, the conflict is fought with the words of diplomats, with gestures of friendship and help to uncommitted countries, even with cultural demonstrations. It is fought indeed on every level of man's experience, for the stakes are high. As one of the adversaries in the conflict, we see a challenge as great as any in our historic past. A challenge not, we hope, to be met and joined in battle, but to be faced and fought in the hearts and hopes of men. It is the challenge of ideas.
3 tiers altogether.
Well, no, because I'm starting with the many-faced god above Jack.
Many-faced god, right?
So many-faced
right.
god is 1. Jack is another 1 below the many-faced god.
Many-faced god, right.
And then there's the waif and somebody else like the waif?
No, and then there's the waif and Arya, who both are disciples of Jack.
Right, 1 and then 1 and then 2, and then is Arya the one who had the boarding pass, or is there somebody?
Arya had the boarding pass.
Oh, okay. So it's 1 and then 2.
Yes.
And then victims.
And then victims, either sometimes by choice, sometimes by design.
Well, that still looks like a pyramid to me, right? 1 and then 2, and then lots of victims. Still sounds like a very deathy pyramid scheme.
So I guess then we should just go into the show then.
Sure. Do you want to introduce yourself and the name of the show?
Yeah, because what we wanted to do is say, good day, everyone. Thanks for watching Jurisfiction. This is Jurisfiction. My name is Nima Ashtiani.
My name is Adam Kirshner, and basically Jurisfiction is a conversation about whether real laws apply to fictional characters or circumstances.
And we're going to be talking today about Game of Thrones for the big fans out there, minus Adam, who has not seen any of these, and tends to just listen to me talk about them.
You're welcome, Game of Thrones fans.
So there's 2 arcs of deaths with the many-faced god.
Okay.
One is random people will come into the temple and they'll sit by a well, and I guess I will be using specific examples. Many spoiler alerts, people, so really go see it before you listen to anything else. Jack will sit with someone, offer them like a drink of water from the well, and then that person will pass away.
So one way is people show up of their own volition.
Yep.
Jack, and I love that you're just like calling him Jack now because I demand to call him Jack. So people show up of their own volition and they sit next to Jack near a well. Jack gives them some water in a cup from the well. They drink it and they die.
They drink it and they die, yes.
So what's the other way? You said there were 2 ways.
Yes, the other way is Jack, the waif, and Arya sometimes are tasked with actually going out of their way to kill people.
Do they give them water from the well again, or do they?
No, they kill them in unique ways. And the premise behind that is the many-faced god has named someone, and the many-faced god needs to get that name. So
to whom does the many-faced god name someone?
I guess Jack?
Okay, so either Jack decides to kill somebody, or there is a many-faced god, and the many-faced god tells Jack to kill somebody.
Yes, and
so they go out and they kill somebody.
Oh, for example, in the earlier seasons, when Arya saves Jack, she saves Jack and 2 other people. So Jack says, "You've spared 3 lives, therefore I offer 3 lives to you. Name 3 people, and they will be killed." And she ends up, she gets caught at some point, and she needs to escape. So she has 2 people killed, and then the 3rd person is a big mess as to how to get out, so she actually gets like 40 more people killed with her 3rd name, which was quite an impressive feat.
Well, so that's not really how it works, right? Like, if you save a life, that doesn't mean now you have to kill somebody, right? These are not mutually exclusive.
According to the many-faced god, that is exactly what it means.
If somebody is going to die and you prevent them from dying, now you have to kill somebody? Yeah, that's not how it works, but okay.
And then sometimes they're conscripted. Hey, kill this guy for me.
So does everybody know that they go around killing people? Like, how do they get the assassination job?
I don't know.
So just the general resident needs someone killed, and they say, "Oh, just go to the death cult. They kill people all the time.
Yes.
Get them to help you kill somebody."
Yes.
Okay. So there's these two general ways that the death cult of the many-faced god kill people. One is people show up, they hang out with Jack. Jack gives them death poison, and they die from a well.
Mm-hmm.
And the other way is they either identify a person who needs to be killed, or their neighbor shows up and says, "Hey, death cult person, I need you to kill somebody," and they kill somebody.
Yes. And they use two phrases. One's very popular in the show. One's used.
Is it the path of the righteous men? Is
No, I believe that's Ezekiel 25:17.
the path of the righteous man?
No, it is not that one.
And you will know my name is the many-faced God when I lay my vengeance upon thee. That's
And strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger.
right.
Great anger. Yep. No.
They don't say that.
No, they don't.
Do they say my
one
name
phrase-
is Inigo Montoya? You kill my father, prepare to die. Is that one of the things?
No, that's wrong. The two phrases are Valar morghulis, which is all men must die, and the other one is, and this one is said whenever someone comes in and like drinks from the cup of killing themselves, is Valar doharis, which is all men must serve.
Well, those seem materially distinguishable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they always say all men must die when their neighbor asks them to go kill somebody? Or do they sometimes say all men must die whenever they give someone poisoned water from the well?
From what I remember, usually when someone has poisoned water from the well, they say all men must serve.
Okay.
Because those people are serving the many-faced god by giving their lives.
So the other ones don't serve the many-faced god?
I guess not.
Well, wait. I thought the people who drank the many-faced god's Kool-Aid are serving by dying.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. So wait,
But they're serving by giving their faces to him for them to use. So they use people's faces like masks.
So they go around and they just take faces.
They take faces.
So they say all men must die, and then they take the face of somebody that they kill, and they say all men must serve.
And someone gives their life and their face freely.
Or they drink the Kool-Aid, and then their face is removed by the waif or Jack or the woman with the boarding pass.
Yes.
So one way or another, your face is going to be taken off of your body.
Yes.
By these three people.
In fact, I think that was the premise of that movie with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. See what I did there?
Do they ever use the same face twice, or is it like a wedding dress, right? Like you only wear it once.
I have not seen one used more than once.
So I'm a little concerned about this death cult's sustainability, right? Like, you should probably reuse those faces a little more often, right? Or like that might be why they run around killing so many people is they don't reuse, reduce, and recycle, right?
Yeah, but you always want fresh supply.
If you're gonna kill somebody just so you can use their face, I mean, try to get a little more mileage out of it.
So there's a big room, like a library of faces.
All right, so they got this big room and lots of faces. They use it once and they put it back where
Yes.
they found it. Except not on the body, right? Like you could put the face back where you found it on the body, but they don't do that. They put the face back.
Well, what
on
good
the
would it
wall.
do on the body? The body's dead.
Well, I mean, the good that it would do, the good that the face would do back on the body that you took it from is then you wouldn't desecrate the dead. But far be it for me to object to the desecration of the dead on Game of Thrones.
For real.
Yeah.
So that is the premise of the many-faced god.
Desecration of the dead.
Utilization of parts.
Yeah, one man's utilization is another man's desecration.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Right. We're getting into semantics here. Utilization, desecration, pretty fungible terms, right?
Like I said, all a matter of perspective.
All right, so I wanted to discuss whether the people who have sacrificed their lives and faces to serve the many-faced god have somehow tacitly waived or expressly waived their right to life and face.
Yes.
Okay, so waiver, right? If they have waived, well, then they must have performed a waiver. A waiver is a voluntary relinquishment of a known right or privilege. So first of all, there has to be a voluntary relinquishment, right? They have to do it because they decide to do it. They have to be given the choice, and then they make the decision. They have to express their decision, whether expressly or somehow tacitly indicating that they relinquish their right or privilege, which goes to the next step. There must be a right or privilege that is being relinquished, and they must know that they have that right or privilege. It has to be something that they're aware they are giving away.
So in the case of our many-faced god and friends, if we kind of look at things out of order, the right and privilege part should be the easiest thing to figure out, and that is they are giving up their life and they are giving up their face. So I guess the first question is, do people have a right to life?
Well, they do in our world. Do people in the Game of Thrones have a right to life?
Clearly not.
I mean, it doesn't seem like that, does it?
One would assume so, because technically they do punish people for doing things like murder.
Okay, so there is a right to life in Game of Thrones. People don't seem to uphold that, that right, but there is a right to life. What about a right to a face? Did people walk around without faces in Game of Thrones? On a typical day in Game of Thrones land, are there people walking around without facial features?
No.
All right, so it seems like not only do people have a right to a life, they have a right to a face in Game of Thrones land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and everybody knows this, right?
Everyone knows that they have a right to a life and a face?
Yeah.
Let's see. Can I think of anyone that was... Well, I know that people were punished for taking other people's lives, so there should be a legal right to a life based on that. A right to a face. I can't think of anyone being punished for removing someone's face, but I assume that people have a right to a face because taking them is not a frequent thing. It only seems to happen when someone gives it up freely or a specific person is killed on behalf of the many-faced god for reasons.
Right, it's just the death cult that goes around taking people's faces. It's
death cult, yes.
Yeah, it's not like there's like 2 or 3 death cults. It's just this one death cult that takes everybody's face.
Yeah, yes.
All right, so we can generally just say that everybody knows that they have a right to a life and a right to a face.
Yes.
So when the people show up out of the blue and they hang out with Jack and they drink the poison, the water from the well. Is it water?
Right.
Like, what color is the liquid?
Clear?
So maybe it's Crystal Pepsi.
It doesn't seem to fizz.
Doesn't fizz. Maybe it's a Riesling.
Doesn't Riesling still have a little tint to it?
Well, maybe I don't. Maybe it's grape juice. Maybe it's white grape juice.
White grape juice. Well, why don't we just say water?
Water. Okay, so it's water.
So there is a waterish looking fluid in the well that people go and drink.
When they do that, do they have a conversation with Jack before he poisons them and takes their face?
It sure looks like it. There are a couple scenes in the show where Arya, and for you who doesn't seem to know Arya is our friend with the coin that gets her on the boat.
The
golden
pass,
ticket.
right.
The golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, or to Jack's murder factory. She sees Jack sitting with someone by the well and handing them the cup. It seems that they are interacting or talking.
But we don't know what Jack and the victims discuss.
No.
So maybe they do discuss, hey, I just want you to know when you drink this, you're totally going to die and I'm going to take your face, right? Like, so maybe he does apprise them of their rights not to die and have their face taken off.
And maybe he does it in a sort of, maybe he tells them in a special way, like, hey.
Maybe he tells them in a special way.
Yeah, like, hey, I just met you and this is crazy, but have this cup and give me your face maybe? Maybe he does cute little cultural references when he elicits a waiver from somebody. And let's be real, if you were sitting by a well and someone came up to you and sang that to you and handed you a cup with a big smile on their face, wouldn't you be like, that's clever, go ahead and take it?
You know, I honestly, I would have to think about it a little bit before I make a decision.
Right? So not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
Yeah.
So he speaks to them, but we don't know, from what I recall, you don't know what he says to them, but then he hands them the cup, and it seems like he's consoling them almost. He sits next to them, like nearby, talks to them for a bit, and hands them a cup, to which they drink and then pass away. And then he says, Valar Doharis, which is, all men must serve. So it seems...
Oh, we can hear that. We can't hear anything else, but we can hear him say, all men must serve.
Well, he says it to Arya, our golden ticket holder, because she's kind of questioning what's going on. Why is this guy here? Why is he drinking from the well? And
how many times does that happen before she like puts 2 and 2 together?
I think she gets it the first time, but I think the first time it happens, she's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he says, "Valar Doharis," and
right. It's not my fault. Everybody must serve. Sorry.
It is what it is. Right. Valar Doharis.
But does Jack continue to say all men must serve to her?
I mean, I assume it's just his thing. Like, hey, just remember, Valar Doharis. All right, good day.
And as always,
because
Valadaharis.
because so actually he says it to her in a different context too, which is he gives her a broom, I think, to clean up the room, and she's kind of all like huffy about it, like, why do I gotta do this? And he goes, Valadaharis.
So that's just like his catchphrase. He just like saying all men must serve whenever it suits the context.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like boom goes the dynamite.
Does anybody ever just say Valadaharis like not facetiously?
Is that how? Am I saying it facetiously?
No, Jack is saying it facetiously.
Jack is saying it facetiously. No.
Right, like
pretty
all
much...
men must serve, if you know what I mean by serve, right?
No, he's pretty much the only one that says it.
So it's like his thing. It's his special catchphrase.
Yeah. You know, like, hey bro, pound up, Valadaharis.
Right. Cowabunga, all men must serve.
And then, you know, gnarly, all men must die. He's kind of a downer.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess that's just an inherent part of running a death cult.
It's well, so these people come in, and I guess the first question is really, do they know that the thing they're drinking will kill them? And do they know? And if they do know that, if you can even get past that point, do they know that after they die, their faces will be put on a wall for future use?
And so it seems like, based on what you told me, it seems like the answer is maybe. Right? We don't know. We don't know what Jack says to them before he poisons them.
We don't know. However, we can use inferences. So, for example, this temple is there, and people are deliberately going into it.
And everybody knows it's a death cult, right? Like nobody's like, hey, what happens there, right?
No one has said that, so I'll go with no. And I also assume...
just so we can reach a conclusion about this, does anybody who's not in the death cult talk about how the death cult is a death cult?
No, they just talk about how there are people who can change their faces.
But they don't know who can change faces?
They don't know who can change faces. Well, because they can change their faces. So people in the land may know because they're actually going to that temple and saying, hey,
well, what about the
what
about the neighbors who use the death cult members to kill people?
Mm-hmm. They probably know. How else, you can't ask for help if you don't know who to ask for help.
Right, or is it just random luck that they happen to pick the death cult to go kill somebody?
I'm going to have to use a specific reference. This is a big spoiler alert.
So spoiler alert to everybody but me who has not seen the show.
I mean, should I hold off for you too? Because you are going to watch it, although you may forget.
No, I'm going to forget everything that you tell me.
That's about how our conversations usually go. So, spoiler alert to Season 6. If you have not seen Season 6, you need to pause this now. Go watch all of Season 6 right now, which is 10 episodes an hour apiece. So after you come back in 10 hours, then finish watching this.
Yeah, Danger Will Robinson. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
So there is go see Season 6, yes. So Arya is conscripted to do an assassination, and all she's told is that this person must die, but then she puts two and two together and realizes...
Wait, you lost me a little bit. So what's her name with the boarding pass?
Arya.
I should be able to remember Arya.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either, but yeah.
So Arya, one day, Arya knows she has to kill someone?
She is, yes, because Jack gives her orders.
Okay, so let's actually use active voice, right? So one day, Jack tells Arya to kill someone.
Yes.
And when Arya goes to kill someone,
at some point she puts two and two together and figures out that someone has conscripted Jack to tell her to kill this person for their own gain. So there's actually it's actually like a business.
So before or after?
Before or after.
She poisons the person.
So she actually prevents the poisoning and points out the person that tried to kill this person and says, see that person right there? That person wants you dead.
Oh, so she tells the intended victim, the person who paid Jack, to tell Arya to kill them.
Yes.
So we don't necessarily know that the person who bought the hit knows about the death cult.
True, she might just know that they do assassinations.
Well, and I'm using death cult a little liberally.
Oh, I see what you're saying. She might know about the guy, but not the cult.
Well, right. So whoever purchased the hit might have known, but maybe that person did not know. Maybe it was just random. Like, hey Jack, do you know anybody who kills people? And Jack's like, well, yeah, my employees do. Why don't you pay me?
Yeah,
that could have happened.
That's possible.
Or
that is possible.
Or the person who purchased the hit could have known in advance. Hey, where's Jack? I really need somebody dead. So if you see Jack, tell him to talk to me.
Yeah, I totally need him to Valadaharis.
Yeah, sure could use some Valadaharis today.
But we don't know if there's an exchange of money or whatever happens. All we know is that the person who was supposed to be killed and wasn't ends up being killed by the other person in the death cult.
The waive?
The waive. And the reason being, the many-faced god names someone, and the many-faced god gets his name. Someone has to die in the name of for the many-faced god, because the many-faced god said so.
Wait. But the many-faced god wasn't the one who said so in the first place, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where this gets confusing too. Apparently, if you hire Jack to kill someone, he'll do it, and then somehow the many-faced god goes, "Oh, I'm getting someone else."
So it's like a purchase order.
It's like,
right?
Yes, it's like a purchaser. He's like, but look, the many-faced gods are going like, look, I need faces. So if other people want those people removed, I'll just have that happen and then take the face. It's kind of what I'm getting out of it. Like, hey, win-win.
Right.
Lose. Win-win, lose.
So Jack finds out that Arya didn't kill the hit.
Yep.
And Jack goes to his boss. He's like, "Look, many-faced god, Arya didn't kill the person that we had the work order for." And the many-faced god says, "Look, man, a work order is a work order. Somebody's got to kill that person." So Jack goes to his other subordinate, the waive, and the waife's job then is to perform the work order.
Yes, because Valar Dohaeris.
Would that be Valar Dohaeris or Valar morghulis?
Well, Valar Dohaeris in that Valar morghulis.
We can just assume that there's some internal consistency there, but okay.
So the person ends up being killed. I assume their face is taken, and so is life.
So they probably did not get a waiver, right? The hits probably did not get a waiver.
The hits did not get a waiver. No, that was not voluntary. That person did not seem to want to die that way.
Right. So those are definitely no's, but it's a maybe if you show up and you hang out with Jack and you talk to him for a while and then you drink the poison. Maybe he discusses your waiver.
Right.
With you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that. There is one thing though, is those people that go in, the maybe voluntaries.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that their licenses have that little sticker on the back and they're face donors.
Well, right. Maybe in advance they have indicated that they wish their face to be donated upon death.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not necessarily a waiver.
Not of their life, but of their face.
So it would be a derivative waiver as to their face if they give a waiver as to their life when they hang out with Jack.
Yes.
But they nevertheless would have to waive their right to life. Or
yeah, but that's such a small detail, isn't it?
It's the distinction between whether the death cult is culpable, right?
Right. So we don't know if everything they do is murders or if they are inviting suicides for the purpose of face harvesting.
Yeah, it could just be medical assistance.
So do you feel illuminated as to Game of Thrones?
I feel like you have explained this crazy face death cult thing.
So maybe we'll go through the different, more remarkable deaths on Game of Thrones and kind of discuss them.
Sure, maybe a mini-series, maybe a whole season devoted to Game of Thrones deaths. Well, I think we've covered all the issues for this one. Thank you everyone for listening. If you'd like to add something to the conversation, we are on Twitter @jurisfiction1, facebook.com/jurisfiction, instagram.com/jurisfiction. Thank you for listening.